Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Connors and Ferris, workers' comp attorneys committed to serving injured workers. By Blue Cross Blue Shield of Western New York, who reminds you that healthy changes everything. By Bank of America, a proud sponsor of the Buffalo Bills. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by JetBlue Airways, the official airline of the Buffalo Bills.
And the Detroit Lions won the toss, elected to receive. So Ryan Lindell has his group set. Back to return for Detroit. Stephon Logan set back in the end zone. And a beautiful night here at Ralph Wilson Stadium. A slight breeze. It is a little muggy down there on the field, Steve.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird sun pattern across the field, too. It's a rare 6:30 start. You never see that. It's either dark or it's either bright sunny afternoon. This kind of twilight game will be interesting to see if the sun plays a part in the ball.
Lindell, a line drive shot, and that goes through the hands of Rasheed Davis into the end zone where he can just take a knee or step out of the back of the end zone for the touchback. And the Lions offense, led by quarterback Matthew Stafford, will take the field. Stafford has shown all kinds of potential in this league, but injuries have really kept him from becoming that #1 guy Detroit thought they drafted.
Well, he does play like a #1. There's no question, Ray. I mean, the guy has really gotten it done when he's played, but a couple of shoulder injuries have derailed his career. But when he's been in there, they've been fantastic. Even in this preseason, as we said in the open, he's got 154 rating. He has been really sharp at this early point of the season. With no offseason, no OTAs, he's looked great.
Lions 3-0 thus far in the preseason. And Stafford goes up top on the opening play, and this is caught by Calvin Johnson as the all-pro receiver from Detroit reels in the first one, a 34-yard grab.
Yeah, most people don't have any idea how big Calvin Johnson is. This guy is a giant of a receiver. He's listed at 6'5". I think that's a joke. When you get him in cleats and a helmet, he's 6'8". He looks absolutely enormous. Big job on the outside by Leotis McKelvin trying to rail him in, and Stafford makes a great throw.
So after one play, the Lions line it up in Bills territory, and Javid Best, #1 pick from last year, picks up 4 on the first play as Tim Hortons brings you the Detroit Lions starting offense up front. Same group they had last year: Backus, Sims, Raiola, Peterman, and Sherrillis. Titus Young, a rookie receiver, along with Calvin Johnson. Pettigrew, the tight end, Clappin Best in the backfield. 2nd and 6 here for the Lions in the opening possession of the final week of preseason action. And Stafford hands this one off to Best, and he's trapped in the backfield. Oh, a nice play there coming in by Andre Davis along with Sean Merriman.
Merriman goes airborne and just does his best impersonation of Superman. Watch him coming off the corner. Watch as he just leaves his feet. You need a soundtrack for
Needs
that.
a cape,
you really do. You need like trumpet fanfare for that. I mean, he just flew across the formation for a 2-yard loss. If he stays healthy, it's going to be a huge difference for the Buffalo Bills defense.
3rd and 8. Stafford with time throws it to a covered receiver looking for the tight end Pettigrew, and coverage on the play by Scott, and good coverage by the secondary as Stafford had all day to throw that one.
Yeah, he tried to fit it in over the top, but it was really, really well defended. Stafford had to move a little bit to his left, was kind of backing up to his left instead of turning and running, and I think it threw his throw off, made it a little bit inaccurate.
So Nick Harris on to punt, or excuse me, Ryan Donahue, their backup punter, gets this opportunity. And he's trying to down it inside the 10, and he does. Nice special teams play there by the Detroit Lions. And that was Maurice Stovall, a late pickup from Chicago, who they brought in. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, outstanding in the ball game last week. Steve hit on 10 of 11 and really threw some wonderful passes.
Yeah, I was actually at one of my colleagues that I work with during the NFL season, Charlie Cashley, was in the Bills facility watching film. He said, I couldn't imagine Ryan Fitzpatrick playing any better than he did last week against Jacksonville. 11 of 12, you see the numbers there. He really, and that really doesn't say as much as the fact that he really had control of the offense. The offense looked extremely good, even in the running game. A lot of that is attributed to the leadership he gives them.
He'll hand it off to C.J. Spiller, and Spiller gets some room off the left side, takes it all the way up to the 35 before he is run out of bounds. C.J. Spiller.
One of the things that's been a question mark for the Bills offense has been the left side of that line, starting with Demetrius Bell. You see right here, and of course there's Andy Levitre. We'll watch what happens as Spiller takes this, goes right up inside the block. Great block there by Chandler, the tight end. And, you know, that's the thing. CJ has done an outstanding job of learning to make one cut and stick with it. It's made a big difference in his running.
Fitz sets up the screen, dumps that one off to Spiller, who gets bottled up for a loss of 1 on the play. Nowhere really to go on that one.
Yeah, actually it was well defended by the Lions. Their defensive lineman, I believe it was Corey Williams, just moved out from the defensive tackle and just refused to get pushed out of the way.
Let's take a look at the Bills' offense, brought to you by JetBlue Airways. Bell, Levitre, Wood, Urbic, and Piers up front. Johnson, Jones as the receivers, Chandler, the tight end, and Spiller in there tonight, along with Corey McIntyre, the fullback. Brought to you by JetBlue Airways. 2nd and 11. Fitzpatrick with time, hurls one deep downfield. Stevie Johnson is open, but he overshoots him, and it falls harmlessly to the turf, incomplete. Take a look at the Lions starting defense, brought to you by Tim Hortons. Jackson, Sue, Williams, and Young up front. Linebacking core revamped as they picked up both Tullett and Durant in the offseason. Levy the only holdover. Houston and Wright the corners. Spivey and Delmas are the safeties. Tim Hortons brings yous. That's my Western New York accent there. Brings yous the Lions defense. 3rd and 11. Dump it off, a little check down out to the left side. Spiller makes it almost back to the original line of scrimmage before Eric Wright can bring him down, and the punt unit will come out.
Yeah, it looked as though on that 2nd down, Stevie Johnson got open down the seam. Fitzpatrick just overthrew him, and then Stevie Johnson on the 3rd down, after running the long route, came off the field, replaced by David Nelson. You know, and that's one of the things you have to realize once the receiver gets to the far end of the field. It's not so much about being in condition enough to run back. It takes so much time. Right. They run a guy off on the short side to make sure they can get in and out of the huddle, and you don't have your best guy on the field.
Mormon hits a high hanging kick. Logan waits for the fair catch and makes it at his own 28-yard line. 36-yard punt. And we'll take a break here with no score early on in the 1st quarter. The Lions will be back out on offense after we take.
Scoreless here in the 1st quarter. Bills and the Lions. Time for our Dodge Ram keys to the game tonight. And for the Bills, the key thing tonight for Chan Gailey, for his starters, is knock the rust off. Keep it off for tonight. He wants his first team out there. Didn't want to let him sit for 2 weeks before the opener. The starting 22, there's competition on the O-line and for that second receiver. And finalize this roster. They've got to be down to 53 by Saturday. Jobs are on the line tonight, guys.
Thank you, Mike. And one job that is over for the night is Matthew Stafford's. He is out of this ball game, and Sean Hill checks in. Aaron Brown currently carrying the football, and Terrence McGee just collars him and wings him to the ground. Take a look at this Bills starting defense tonight, brought to you by JetBlue Airways. Up front, Darius, Troop, Edwards.
They're giving this #1 crew another series. As you see, Kelsey, Davis, Barnett, and Merriman. Merriman just missed the tackle in the backfield there. And, of course, McGee, McKelvin, Wilson, and Bird in the secondary. This defense getting one last look here before they sit down for the night.
2nd and 11, Hill dumps it out to the perimeter. Brown makes the catch, but Kelsey is right there to stop the play for another loss.
You know, I can't tell you, Ray, how different this team looks than they did a year ago. Their defense is completely upgraded all the way across the front. And that's a great look at Kelsey just moving out into the flat, comes up. And I'll tell you what, before he moved to the outside linebacker, he's defensive end, and it took a little while for him to adjust to that new position. That play right there, I don't think he makes that play 12 months ago.
That's a good play in space by a big man. Kelsey at 6'4", 265. Hill. Kelsey chasing him, throws the screen to Aaron Brown, and Brown gets knocked down before he gets a first down. Heck of a play there again by Sean Merriman.
Yeah, he chased that from the backside of the play. There was big pressure in the pocket. Merriman was rushing the passer. He sees what happens and then runs across the formation, lays out, and trips up the runner 2 yards short of the first down. Great hustle play by Merriman. I'll tell you what, that's 3 outstanding plays by that defense, those linebackers, both Kelsey and Merriman.
I'm betting they're done, and Merriman, if you had any cause to think about that one, it's over. Rogers back to return the punt. Makes the catch at the 14, makes the first man miss, has some room up the sidelines, gets a block. Tiptoes his way up past the 35, up to the 38-yard line. 24-yard return. Justin Rogers had a nice block from Zach Pianalto to spring him. We'll take a network timeout as the Bills. 8:56 to go here in the first quarter. No score between the Lions and the Bills, although there was an opportunity, Steve.
Yeah, right here, Stevie Johnson. One thing that has not been a question mark for the Bills this preseason is who's the number 1 guy. Stevie Johnson, you see here, he got open right down the seam. The ball was just overthrown. Last week, Ryan Fitzpatrick saw him one-on-one coverage with Rasheem Mathis, and they win and get the touchdown, 52 yards, and that's what you got to do. If you get one-on-one coverage, you need your number 1 guy to win.
Fred Jackson, his first carry of the game, gets a couple of yards off the right side. Nope, excuse me, that's C.J. Spiller.
Yeah, C.J. Spiller coming out. That was a nice play by the corner coming up to disrupt that play. That was Aaron Berry who came in really low, forced Spiller to cut it back, I think, a little bit before he wanted to.
Spiller stays in the ball game on 2nd down and 8. Lions move up with an 8-man front. Quick toss to the outside. That one dropped by Easley. He had a great week last week.
Yeah, that's been his thing during the preseason. He'll drop 1 or 2 balls along the way, and this one is just a turnaround route. You got to just pull it in and see it. And you can see when that ball gets to his stomach, his eyes are already looking out at Barry coming in on him. And you think it's a pretty easy catch, but it's not that easy when you got somebody running at you trying to separate you from the football. But you got to make that play. And those are the kind of easy plays Easley has maybe had a little trouble with.
3rd and 8. 4-man rush from the Lions. Fitzpatrick. He hooks up. No. Incomplete. Boy, Stevie Johnson had the football for a moment, and then it got broken up by the Lions defenders.
Yeah, he had his hands on it. It looked like he was trying to pluck it out of the air. Couldn't get it to his body before he got contact. He caught it away from his body. You'll see this, and before he can get in and pull it in, great play by Barry to grab his arm before he can tuck the football away and knock it loose.
So Mormon on to punt for the 2nd time tonight. Back to return is Nate Hughes. Oh, that's a missile. That's going into the end zone and through the back of the end zone. A 61-yard boot from Brian Mormon. And the Lions will get the football with 7:59 to go here in the first.
Back in Orchard Park where the defense for the Buffalo Bills, that first-team defense will sit down after plays like this. Merriman getting airborne to make that play. Kelsey out in space, tackle for a loss. Merriman seeing the play, diagnosing it, and then hustling across the field to keep Detroit from getting the first down and forcing the punt. Great job by that number 1 defense, pursuing all over the football field, stopping the run and the pass.
7 plays for the starters. Sean Merriman, 3 tackles, 1 for a loss in his action. Jerome Harrison is tackled by Danny Batten after a pickup of 4.
You see these guys come in, number 2s come into play. You see that the first thing you notice, particularly in the Bills' 3-4 alignment, is those linebackers. Danny Batten getting into the game. You know, Danny Batten has been a guy who's really impressed. He's quicker than they thought he was. He runs a little better than they thought he did. He's better in space than they thought he was. He's really surprised on every level this preseason. You saw there getting a chance to make a tackle in the first play.
Calvin Shepard checks in at 1 linebacker spot. his first action in the preseason for the Bills. This ball complete to Titus Young for the first down, a pickup of 9. Danny Batten's had a pretty good preseason.
Well, you go all the way back to week 1 in Chicago, his first real live action. He gets credit for 2 sacks. This one coming right off the corner, getting picked up by a back. And if you can beat a running back, you got to be able to do that as a linebacker. And he did a nice job right there, blowing right past the running back, getting to the quarterback. Great job all 3 weeks for him.
Harrison tries the left side. Nowhere to go on that play. Batten along with Troop and Shepard involved in the tackle.
Yeah, that was great job down inside by Troop. It just would not be pushed off the football, right down the line of scrimmage, and the running back just runs right into him. I mean, there's just no place to go. Those D linemen, if they can hold their ground and not get pushed backwards, that is all it takes to have a really solid run defense. The tackling takes care of itself because there's no place to run.
Big hole on the right side, and here goes Jerome Harrison. Finally pushed out of bounds by Reggie Corner, but not until he gets inside the Bills' 20 down to the 17.
Yeah, there we just spoke about the D-line. Watch what happens. There's going to be a gap right here.
It's the wrong shoulder by the
and
linebacker,
that's
Chris
right.
White.
Yeah, Chris White takes that block on head on instead of with his inside shoulder, and he gives the entire corner to Vasher. Not Vasher. I'm sorry, Harrison going down the corner, and that's just a linebacker using the wrong technique.
47-yard pickup. Aaron Brown comes in, and he goes nowhere as Carrington is right there to make the tackle.
And that was just, he was in the right place, but he used the wrong technique, and it gave that running back just that little crack of daylight. And man, everybody else was in the right spot, and you let one guy do that, and that's all it takes in the NFL. You got to be in the right spot with the right technique.
The leverage is what's so important. I played that inside linebacker position, and right there, that's critical error. You always have to have that outside hand free. Up top into the end zone, incomplete. Titus Young, the intended receiver. Reggie Corner is right there for the Bills on defense.
Yeah, and you'll watch. We'll go back to that running play. And this is why these guys are right here is where you're looking. And he's going to come up and take this block right here. He needs to take it out here instead of stepping inside. You see, he needs to step into that hole to the outside.
Keep the left arm free.
All of his defender teammates are to the inside of his shoulder. When he puts that guy and lets that back go outside, there's nobody out there. He needs to turn the running back to the inside where the rest of the linebackers and D linemen can tackle.
3rd and 8, Hill, an underneath route, and that's a touchdown for the Lions. Maurice Stovall, 16 yards on the hookup, and just like that, the Lions go up 6-0.
Yeah, he's being guarded by Reggie Corner, just a quick down and in, and once he caught it, the man coverage dictated that he had a lot of space. Watch as Hill does a nice job. We mentioned these Detroit quarterbacks have had an outstanding preseason. They've got a lot of big targets over in Detroit's wide receiver stable. And that's just another guy, David Martin, who 6'4", that's a big target.
So Jason Hansen, 40-year-old kicker in his 20th year for the Lions, on to add the extra point. And he does. And the Lions quickly matriculate down the field to take a 7-0 lead with just over 5 minutes to go here in the first quarter. We'll be right back after this local timeout. Does your school love the NFL? Kick off the school year by celebrating Back to Football Friday and enter for a chance to win 10,000 NFL Play 60 health and wellness dollars in form of a grant. Go to the BuffaloBills.com for information on how your school can register to win the 10 G's. 7-0 Lions over the Bills here early in the first quarter. Ray Bentley alongside Steve Tasker, Mike Catalana on the sidelines for us. Hansen has the ball teed up, ready to kick it. Easley and Rogers back to return for Buffalo.
Hansen may have the longest run-up for any kicker in the NFL. He's got 18 yards back at an angle. he finally gets up to speed and kicks his ball.
He's only about 160 pounds, but I'll tell you what, he got every pound into it. Yeah, easily takes it from 5 yards deep and stumbles his way back to the 20. A 25-yard return for Marcus Easley. And the Bills offense is taking the field. And we'll let you know who's the quarterback when we come back. Thigpen in the ball game. Struggled a little bit early in his appearance last week, but ended up playing pretty good at the end. You see him with the football here. He's a dual threat type of guy. And he is in the Bills starting offense with just 7 plays. So 7 for the D, 7 for the O. They're sitting down, and now the battle is on for final roster spots.
Yeah, you want to know what Tyler Thigpen can do to improve is just complete more of his throws. He had a little trouble with his accuracy last week, or at least on Saturday, and I think that's the one thing I'd like to see him do better.
There was very accurate pass there as he hit Buster Davis, and he was not able to make the catch.
Well, that's the 3rd drop pass we've seen. Stevie Johnson's pass was knocked loose, but Marcus Easley and Davis, those are just flat drops.
So a 2nd down and 10 now. Thigpen hands it off to the right side. Johnny White goes. White's first action since that injury, that scary injury in Denver.
Yeah, it was scary because of the precautions they took to make sure that he didn't have any permanent damage. They thought maybe he had a neck injury or a severe head injury. They carted him off. Not so. He traveled back with the team that night on the plane. He's been getting ready to play, and of course is in there tonight, back to 100%. We'll show you that injury in a minute, but good to see him back on the field. 5th round draft pick out of North Carolina.
3rd down and 9. Thigpen completes it over the middle to Pianalto, another one out of North Carolina, but it appears he'll be just shy of the 1st down. That Bills offensive line experiment where they put Levitri at tackle for a dozen plays last week seems to be over, as Demetrius Bell played all 7 at left tackle and Levitri all 7 at left guard.
Yeah, Pianalto just didn't get it enough for the 1st down. He's about 6 inches shy, and when you're inside your 30-yard line, you just can't take that chance. The Bills punt this away once again, and another chance for Brian Moorman to launch one out of there. That first kick was a monster.
61-yarder that he actually kicked it farther than that, but he ran it in the end zone. And here's another bomb from Moorman. Nate Hughes takes it back on his 12. Flag comes in, looked like a clip, and I believe it will be as Hughes gets out over the 20. 58-yard punt there for Moorman, and they'll tack on a little more with the penalty.
Yeah, that's like a clip. From where they spotted even after the return, that's about a 47-yard net punt, which is enormous.
Cleet Blakeman, our referee tonight.
Illegal block in the back. Return team number 32. Penalties half the distance to the goal line. 1st down.
Aaron Berry gets caught clipping. Here's a look at it.
That's a little bit of a ticky-tack call there. I think it might have happened before that.
Yeah, he just kept that arm extended.
I don't know. I don't agree with it.
Looked a lot worse.
Even though it goes in the Bills' favor.
When we first saw it.
I think the referee called something he thought he saw rather than something that happened.
I think I see a new quarterback in for the Lions. Drew Stanton takes over for Sean Hill. 3rd quarterback to play for Detroit here in just the 1st quarter. And Graham Harrison is going to be locked up behind the line of scrimmage. Nice defensive play by Antonio Coleman.
Yeah, you talk about, there's only 17 guys in the league who've accumulated 100.0 passer rating or better in preseason. Detroit's got 3 guys that have done it. Of course, Stafford with 154 rating. Sean Hill had 104. We saw him for one series, and now Zach Robinson also with 134 rating. We have not seen him, and Drew Stanton almost made it. He has a 99.3
What's wrong with him?
I don't know. But the Lions have played very well at quarterback in the preseason.
Play action Stanton hits his receiver on a comeback route, and that is Nate Hughes. Reggie Corner tags him down after a gain of 7.
You'll see this. Ball comes out on time, and it's hard to get sacks when the timing is there. It's a nice job by Corner. You see how he lets Hughes slide to a stop and then touches him after he's lost that yardage. So he gets the extra yard of lost ground rather than tagging him as soon as he can.
3rd and 4. Stanton complete to the outside to Titus Young, the rookie out of Boise State, and Young gets the first down. Working on Reggie Corner, a gain of 8.
When I think one of the things that the Lions do very well, it seems like, in this early on, we don't see them very much, obviously, Ray, but it's on timing. I mean, that ball, the quarterback drops back and it's coming out, and the receivers are running hard slants. And with the receiving core that they have, we talked about their size, it's tough to get. If you get behind those guys and the ball is in front of them, you can't get to it to defend it.
Stanton hands it off to Harrison. Get 3 on first down.
Now you've got Terrell Troop, Kellen Hurd in the ball game, Carrington.
Troop,
there you see.
Taking on that double team.
Troop taking does a pretty nice job. And like I said, it's all about just holding your ground. The Troop in there just trying to make like a tree stump. Those guys don't make many tackles, but they sure make it possible for others to.
Minute to go here in the first quarter, and looked like Hurd jumped off sides.
Now you talk about this, Ray. We've had a couple of drop passes. You see a guy like Hurd do that. And there's some guys who know this is their shot.
Yeah.
This is their last
some nerves
shot.
going
There's
on
some
out
nerves
there.
going on. There's no question about it.
Encroachment. Defense number 72. 5-yard penalty. Replay 2nd down.
So that'll make it a 2nd down, and called it a long 1 now for the Lions. Ball at the 30-yard line. And the handoff goes to Harrison, and Harrison has nowhere to go. Good penetration by Hurd, and then Coleman finishes it off.
Antonio Coleman does an outstanding job. Watches this play develops, and Coleman just holds his ground, plays with great leverage. Watch how low he gets underneath the block of the tight end who comes out, gets underneath him, pushes him back, stays outside because he knows that's his responsibility. What a fantastic job of stoning that block by the tight end and making that play.
The clock is winding down towards the end of the first quarter. The Lions do not have to snap it, so they'll start their trek to the other side of the field as the Lions take that 7-0 lead.
This is the end of the first quarter.
7-0. Detroit will be back with the second quarter right after this.
Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Tim Hortons Premium Blend Coffee. Brewed 20 minutes fresh, because always fresh, always tastes best. Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop, the official coffee of the Buffalo Bills.
7-0 Detroit over Buffalo here in the beginning of the second quarter. The final preseason tilt of the year. It's all for real come September 11th. Detroit facing a 3rd down and 3. Drew Stanton in at quarterback. Overshoots his intended receiver on the outside. Titus Young, Reggie Corner with the defense.
Yeah, and that was the first inaccurate throw we've seen from a Detroit quarterback. He tried to throw this high and away from the defender. His margin of error was just too great. That ball fluttered out of there a little bit and seemed to have an arc on it. He didn't get enough on it. As you see Reggie Corner, who they picked on a little bit, but finally got a little bit back as he defended that one well.
Donahue on to punt. Justin Rogers back to receive for the Bills as the flags and whistles come out before the snap. It looks like Detroit got a head start.
False start. Offense, number 15. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
And that one is called on Derek Williams. Wide receiver trying to get down there and cover the kick.
Well, it's up here as they just You see, it wasn't much. I mean, but he moved a little bit quick, and then they don't let it slide. And that's why it's the preseason and why these games have 32 penalties every time.
Decent kick by Donahue, and it drives Rogers back inside of his 20. He'll make it up to the 32, a 57-yard punt, a 12-yard return, and the Bills will be back on offense when we come back down 7-0. We will return after. I'm Ray Bentley along with Steve Tasker. As you see, a couple of Bills fans. Delaware loves the Bills, and we have Mike Catalana on the sidelines as part of our crew. 14:43 to go in the first half. Detroit up 7-0. Buffalo with the football. And Tyler Thigpen at quarterback. The first offense played a grand total of 7 plays. Fitzpatrick was 2 of 4 for a -2 yards. This handoff goes to Johnny White, who gets back to the line of scrimmage before he's brought down. And let's go down to the sidelines. Mike Catalana. Mike.
Yeah, you guys talked earlier about Johnny White being back in the lineup tonight after that scary injury that happened in the game in Denver. Let's show you what happened in that game when he was thrown to the ground. Now, the concern for the Bills at that time was a neck injury, but Johnny White was okay after the game, and as Steve mentioned, did fly back with the team. They really like Johnny White's versatility. He's a one-cut runner. He's quick to the spot, and they like his versatility, the 5th-round pick out of North Carolina.
Thigpen almost gets out of trouble. A late flag comes in as White can't quite catch that little shovel pass that Thigpen threw out of desperation.
This might be a hold on Buffalo.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 75. Blow to the head of the quarterback. A 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Deontay Dawson is the guilty party. Coach Schwartz isn't believing it.
And he's working around Chris Hairston at the top.
Just reached out and hit him in the head.
And that's Cordero Howard, actually.
See right here, they called him for the blow to the head.
Yeah, and that's, you know, I don't know. I think they overdo that. I think they overdo that sometimes. I know there's a rule and they can't differentiate between, well, this one is a hit and that one's not, but it seems to me like it should be a deliberate act. When you're reaching over the top of a guy, I don't think you run the risk of injuring him.
White up the gut for 7. Nice little quick hitter, a little trap play.
And those personal fouls, for those are the ones you kind of hate because they're big penalties. They keep drives alive. They're first downs. And whatever good things the defense has done to that point get wiped away over a play that, you know, sometimes it's just because the guy's so tall and the quarterback's so short.
And those kind of things can also spark the other team. Hopefully so for the Bills' case as they line up 2nd and 4 in Detroit territory for the first time tonight. Thigpen nowhere to go this time, avoids one man but gets hit by another. Paul Pratt ends up making the sack on Thigpen.
Well, they brought 7 people, did the Lions. Man-to-man coverage all over the secondary. There was all kinds of people coming from the secondary and the front. And you see here, everybody comes.
Pratt off the edge.
Yes, off the edge. And Craig Davis got left and got picked up by the safety. And by the time, you know, Tyler Thigpen could put his foot in the ground, he's already got a guy draped all over him. I mean, that was big pressure by the Lions by bringing a lot of people.
3rd and 10. Bills 0 for 3 on 3rd down conversions. And this one, boy, Mike Cawson wasn't even looking for the ball. It wasn't a bad pass, really, by Thigpen, but the tight end wasn't looking for the football.
No, they look out of kilter in their passing game tonight. Some of it's Thigpen, some of it's the receivers. They've had some drops, no question. You see there, Cawson, and you got to look for the ball.
That'd have been a first down.
And I think what Cawson thought is, I'm not the number 1 guy. I'm going to run down the seam and let the receiver come in behind me. What they're failing to realize is, with pressure being brought, they've got to get out of the way or at least look for the football to give the quarterback an outlet.
You can become number 1 in a hurry when the quarterback's running for his life. Hughes back to return the Mormon punt. That's the old coffin corner from back in the day. What a kick.
Too, yeah.
Inside the 3.
That was a great kick.
48-yard punt, no return, down right inside the 3-yard line. That's where the Lions will take over with a 7-0 lead. As we'll take this local break and be right back. 7-zip Lions over the Bills, and I'll tell you what, Brian Moorman, pretty good punting night so far. He's got a 61-yarder, a 58-yarder, and you see the average in that last one, dinged it down at the 3.
He's the MVP tonight.
So far.
I mean, that guy's, it's unbelievable what he can do with that football. And he can put it out of bounds at the 3 from midfield. That's amazing.
Stanton hands this one off and nowhere to go for Aaron Brown. As the middle of the Bills line, led by Troop, takes care of business. Let's take care of some business ourselves. Mike Catalana is on the sidelines. Mike.
Yeah, another guy in on that play, number 55, Kelvin Shepard, a linebacker, the 3rd-round pick out of LSU. He's been out with a hamstring injury. This is his first action. Chan Gailey coached him at the Senior Bowl. Loved his instincts, very impressed from that. That's why they drafted him. But since an injury, this is the first time he's been on the field in an NFL uniform.
Thanks, Mike. 2nd and 11. Stanton, play action, tries to go up top. And overthrown. Great coverage there by Reggie Corner all over Titus Young.
Yeah, Reggie Corner has been getting the work out. He's playing a lot tonight. He was with the number 2s. He's still in there and played some in the number 1 defense as well when the Lions went 3 wide. He's going to be tired at the end of tonight because the Lions are airing it out. And that's one thing a lot of NFL teams, it's something they do at this level of football, Ray, they don't do at others. When they get backed up, they come out slinging it. They don't try and run it up the gut to give them room. None of that. You got to defend the whole 100-yard field against these NFL teams with these quarterbacks in these arms.
Lions 2 for 5 on 3rd down conversions. Stanton scrambles out of the end zone, avoids the safety, but he'll be brought down at the 8-yard line, and the Lions will be forced to punt. Mr. Shepard getting in on that play.
Well, when you get a look at a guy in a college atmosphere, and there you see him right in the middle, he's going to see this play, looks at the tight end, gets back in the hook zone, and then just pursues the quarterback. I mean, you can see why they like him. He runs hard everywhere he goes. When he drops back into coverage, he runs hard. When he comes up to make a tackle, he runs hard. Seems like he knows what to do in every situation.
Donahue gets the kickoff. Justin Rogers makes the fair catch in Lions territory. 41-yard punt.
And look at that.
Pretty good field position.
And that goes back to the Moorman punt. Moorman's punt goes out of bounds on the 3. They stop him, and all of a sudden their punter's doesn't have the leg Moorman does. The Bills get it on the Detroit side of the 50 with a fresh set of downs. And it was and that's something that rarely happened a year ago with the way the Bills had struggled in defending the run. When you've got a punter like Moorman, particularly with the situation with the kickoffs this year, the only way you can switch field position, unless your offense clicks and then stalls or whatever, is your punter. And Moorman has really been phenomenal this preseason.
Big Pen hands it off to White, and White runs into a host of tacklers right at the line of scrimmage. Boy, whoever was the nose tackle for the Lions, that get off, that's as close as you can be to offsides and not get dinged for it.
Well, you know how it is. When you get down in there and you start watching a guy snap and you start getting a feel for it, you look at his forearm, you watch the muscles, you watch his fingers on the ball, and sometimes you can get a little bit of a tell, you know. I mean,
sometimes they'll just guess too.
Tips it off. Yeah, sometimes they guess, and sometimes they just get a good jump. Sometimes they're that quick, even if they do weigh over 300 pounds. That's going to be a defensive. That's going to be a defensive neutral zone infraction.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 79. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Well, we've seen it a lot this preseason. Willie Young is going to try and jump the snap, just what we were talking about. And smartly, Chris Hairston right here, all he has to do is react naturally. And you'll see it, Willie, right on the outside, and that's all it is. That reaction was a natural movement, and when Young went into the neutral zone, that's what makes it a defensive penalty and not an offensive penalty.
Draw play. White with room, breaks a tackle. Oh, got Drugged down by the shoelaces. First down to the 36-yard line.
Well, the safety Ricardo Silva came up and just made the shoestring tackle.
Literally untied his shoe.
Yeah, and as you can see there putting his shoe back on. Watch as he comes up. This is a great job by White. He comes up, looks like he's going to go inside. A little bit of a hesitation there, but the hole did finally take shape. And there you see Silva. And really, that was a big play that just missed because of Silva making that shoestring tackle.
Thigpen bumps it outside to Davis. Davis with a nice little jitterbug move down to the 30-yard line.
Well, they had Davis and Easley out there. Both those guys have dropped one of those passes. This time, Craig Davis pulls it in and Easley blocks for him and does a nice job. Really, all you got to do, you see there, he didn't really hit the guy, but if the guy wants to get there and has to run around you, that's all it takes. Davis just picks the other side of his teammate to run around.
5 on that last play as they mark it back to 31. He'll bring up a 2nd and 5 for the Bills. Detroit showing blitz. Handoff and nowhere to go this time for Johnny White.
Yeah, another corner blitz.
Runs right into Pratt again.
And here's the wide receivers, and you see there, Stevie Johnson is really the starter. As we said in the top, Marcus Easley and Donald Jones are trying to get that number 2, along with Craig Davis, who's in there tonight. Roscoe Parrish hasn't taken a down in the preseason because of a pulled muscle, but there's a lot of guys out here that are waiting for an opportunity to make a difference. They'll keep 5 to 6 guys at wide receiver, and with a 53-man roster, maybe a 7th, but that's a stretch, and it'll give them some flexibility if they have some guys that can help out on special teams. But that's the situation.
3rd and 5, Thigpen over the top. What a crash there by Kamar Aiken. Just snagged it out of the air, gain of 7, and they'll move the chains.
You're right, that was a sensational grab and a big throw by Thigpen. We'll see what this looks like, but Thigpen just gets rid of this, takes the shot, and that is a great catch by Aiken. Watch, Thigpen's going to take a shot right in the back by Young and then get piled on top of by Llewellyn as well. That was a great throw by Thigpen.
Stuck it in there for a first down. White penetration knocks him off his feet right off the bat. And loss on the play.
Yes, Quinn Pitcock getting right in. He just snuck by Jeff Handgardner at center. And penetration is the death of the run game, right? And watch.
There's Pitcock.
Right here. Watch how fast he gets off the ball as he gets that leg up. Just slips inside. Yeah, there wasn't Handgardner. It was Llewellyn. And it was, I mean, those guys got through there so fast, the offensive lineman on the right side couldn't get to cut those blocks off.
Thigpen checks it down to his tight end, Carlson, and he gets hit and knocked back. He gets 5 on the play. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 8. The Bills have to get to the 13 to convert.
Thigpen, I think he's throwing the ball much better tonight than he did Saturday night. Much more accurately, much more velocity. He looks better in the pocket, even though he's been under duress. I think I watched him play in Kansas City when he was with the Chiefs, and he does seem to play better when his back's against the wall. He's one of those gunslinger types that's better when he's under stress, and he seems to make quicker and more decisive decisions with the ball.
Bills 1 of 5 on 3rd down conversions. Thigpen, who will be brought down. Again, tremendous pressure by Llewellyn and Quinn Pitcock. Pitcock with the sack.
Yeah, that was just a fast sack, and that moves them out to make this a 47-yard or 48-yard attempt at the field goal, working against Mansfield Rado, and just gets right by him.
Lindell shimmies to get ready. Kick is up. Bangs off the right upright. Might have knocked the uprights crooked a little bit, but no good. So Buffalo yet to get on the scoreboard. trailing 7-0. And the Lions will have the football when we come back after this local. After a 9-play drive that only covered 18 yards, took up 5 minutes and 46 seconds, the Bills come up empty. The 48-yard field goal try bangs off the right upright, and the Lions take over 1st and 10 from the spot of that kick, their own 38-yard line. Stanton in at quarterback. He'll run play action. Steps up into the pocket, gets rid of it, and that one is complete as Aaron Williams makes the hit on Nate Hughes. 15 yards on the pickup.
They had lots of time in the pocket. As this goes all the way across, Williams got to kind of hang in there and run all the way across the field with Hughes. That's a tough pass to defend if you don't have a good pass rush. The quarterback, it takes so long, particularly in man coverage, because the DB gets into a full gallop and can't follow him weaving through all the traffic. It's really a tough route to defend. The only way to defend it is at the quarterback's end, not the receiver's end.
Little handoff to Harrison. Harrison makes a man miss. Gets around the left side after coming up the middle, and he's run out of bounds by Scott, but he picks up 18.
And that was a nice run. Harrison had a nice little bit of room right after he made his first cut. You'll watch here. He's going to make a little head move, hops right there, and watch right there.
Oh, he broke Reggie Corner down.
Had no shot. It looks like he came up a little bit lame.
The Lions already lost their second-round draft pick, Mikel LaShore, to an Achilles injury. That's why they picked up Harrison and also Mike Bell. Bell's been let go, and Harrison seems to be the guy who will replace. Stanton throws it incomplete, looking for Hughes along the sidelines. Rogers with a defensive play.
Rogers returning punts and also getting a chance to play corner. Did a nice job there. He doesn't look for it right on the outside of your screen. You'll see there. And you know, we
never got his head around.
Yeah, we saw that be called pass interference in the last couple of weeks. That's hard. I mean, and that's the thing. If they're going to call it this week, call it that way next week too. You know,
you're not going to get that one.
No.
2nd down and 10.
And he shouldn't.
No. Handoff. Stanton gives it to Brown, and Brown is brought down by Shepard after a gain of 4.
Yeah, Shepard,
third-round pick. Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he hasn't played much this preseason because of the hamstring. Watch him as he runs, and you'll see him. I mean, you just watch his attitude when he runs. You can see he never takes his eyes off, gets out there and watch him, goes and then gives that little bit of extra. That's the right attitude, I think.
Yeah, he's going to be a good one before it's over.
Yeah, I think they were very high on him at the Senior Bowl. That's why they took him, and they wish they'd have gotten a look at him the entire preseason, but it wasn't to be.
3rd and 7. Stanton throws it up for grabs, and the deflection almost picked off as Scott got over there. It was intended for Titus Young. Reggie Corner breaks up another one.
Yeah, you think they're going after Reggie Corner just a little bit tonight? Weird.
Seems that way.
He is always the guy that they're throwing at. And he defends this one pretty well and almost turns it into a big play going the other way.
So Hansen comes out to attempt the field goal. Harris spots the ball at the 34 for a 44-yard attempt. Hansen puts it through the uprights to extend the Lions lead to 10-0 now over the Bills. With 3:15 to go here in the first half, we'll take a 3:15 to go here in the first half. Jason Hansen just nailed a 44-yarder, cap off a scoring drive for the Lions that lasted 6 plays. You see the numbers right there. 10-0 Detroit with the lead. Justin Rogers and Marcus Easley are deep, set to return the Hansen offering. Those offerings have been pretty much through the end zone for most of this preseason. What little wind we do have is at Hansen's back. And after a stroll through the park, Hansen hits this one to Rogers, who takes it from 4 yards deep. And will get dragged down at the 22-yard line. Call it a 25-yard return, and the Bills offense takes the field. We'll go down to the field, and Mike Catalana.
Guys, you've been talking about the wide receiver battle, and we saw Craig Davis earlier, known as Buster, when he was a first-round draft pick in San Diego. He's fighting to make this team. He's got great speed and great ability, but as you mentioned, he's in a battle with a bunch of young guys trying to make the squad. He had a drop earlier. He's back out there wearing number 85 now. Let's see what he does in this next few possessions.
Indeed we will, Mike, as Thigpen checks in once again. He's back to throw on first, dumps it to his tight end, Carson, and a gain of 8 on first down, bring up a 2nd and 2.
Thigpen, I think, after the pressure he felt on that 9-play, 18-yard drive, he's getting rid of the football.
Good look.
And there's no question. I mean, when you're a quarterback like that, and you guys have, and your offense has a series like that, you go off the sideline between and say, "Hey, listen, you guys get your head around so I can throw the football to you." And they probably get reiterated by the coaching staff as well. And they talk some things over, and they got to get that ball out.
Bills take a timeout. That one came
Buffalo
from the
takes
sideline.
their first charge timeout.
They didn't like what they were seeing.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
Hey, I just want to make you aware, Bills fans, Tom Brady and the AFC East champion New England Patriots come to town Sunday, September 25th, so don't miss your chance to be a part of this storied rivalry. Tickets are moving fast, so get yours now at buffalobills.com or by calling 1-877-BB-TICKS. TICKS is in TICKS. It's Buffalo Bills football. We need you to lead the charge. Second and 2. Quick toss outside to Davis, and he'll be rolled up immediately. Gain of maybe a few inches on this play. It'll bring up a 3rd and short.
Yeah, that's going to get us to the 2-minute warning. But this is a play now that the Buffalo Bills have gone to time and again. It's obvious, sometimes when they get into these preseasons, Ray, and they've got these guys that haven't played that much, they limit the play selection so that the guy doesn't have to think about what he's doing. He doesn't have to make adjustments. Just do some simple things so they can get an idea of whether he can compete. It's a good thing for evaluating people. Not such a good thing if you're trying to win a game.
No doubt. So we have hit the 2-minute warning. We'll take a network timeout. The Lions leading the Bills 10-0 here early on at the 10-zip. Lions over the Bills as we have 2 minutes to go here in the first half. You see Marcel Darius holding court down on the sidelines. Tyler Thigpen and company trying to get something going here. 3rd down and 2. Their own 29-yard line. White motions out of the backfield. It's empty. Thigpen overshoots his man, looking for Rubel Martin, and that one a little overthrown, and the punting unit will come back out onto the field where Brian Moorman been pretty much the highlight thus far for Buffalo.
And on that play, the Lions do something they haven't done very much. They only rushed 4 guys and dropped 7 into coverage, and Thigpen tried to fit it in and I think he just made a bad throw because I think they caught him off guard looking for some pressure, and it wasn't there.
Nate Hughes set to return for Detroit. And Moorman sends out another beautiful spiral. And ball comes loose. That's picked up by Buffalo. Rubel Martin comes up with the fumble recovery. And that's the big play Buffalo was looking for. It was a 55-yard punt. But then the turnover on special teams. Martin, Johnny on the spot.
Yeah, Martin is actually the victim of a clip that was more severe than the one they called on the last punt. He's already passed the play. He stays with it, hustles back to get into it. You see him coming back from the left of your screen. He was already past the returner, had been pushed in the back past him right there.
Chris
Now
White.
he gets up, and now watch him follow. See, he knew he got clipped, and then finally picks up the loose ball. That's good hustle for a guy that he really did get clipped.
Give Chris White the credit as he knocks the ball loose, and the Bills in business at the Lions 28. Thigpen throws the slant, incomplete. Bounces off the hands of Rubel Martin. Figured, hey, he recovers a fumble, we'll throw him one.
Yeah, he's got a nose for the football. Weasley and Martin in the game together. Well, you got to remember, Rubel Martin, I think this is his week anniversary. 1 week anniversary as a Buffalo Bill.
Thigpen, 6 of 10 for 34 yards here in the first half. Back to throw again. Has a man open, throws it behind Craig Davis. And you can see the frustration there for Tyler Thigpen. He had an open receiver.
Well, and it's not like Craig Davis didn't make an effort to get it. He jumped up and turned 180 degrees trying to get it back, get his hands back on it. But Thigpen, he just throws this one off the field. I mean, you can see where the ball's supposed to be over in this area. And that's where Craig Davis expected it.
We've seen some errant tosses from Thigpen. Been a little inconsistent here in his last couple of outings. Faces a 3rd and 10 now. The Lions bring the heat. And they get Thigpen rather easily as Willie Young makes the sack, and it knocks the Bills out of field goal position.
Yeah, Thigpen's got to throw that away. Just throw it out the back of the end zone or off the sideline. He's got a receiver in this direction. Just throw it over the sideline. Do something. Get rid of it. Do not take a 15 or 17-yard loss. That'll actually be a 15-yard loss.
3rd sack of the day for the Lions.
And that's the one thing you don't want to do in that situation. You've been shut out in the first half. You had one go off the upright. You don't want to turn what would have been a 46-yard attempt into a punt.
And the
delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
And the Bills take a deliberate
right. The
delay of game.
Lions let them too.
Yeah, and
so I think both teams are trying to get out of town here today or tonight.
Well, I think the Lions would like to save whatever timeouts they have left, which I believe is their full complement. I don't think they've taken a timeout
they
yet.
got 3 left.
And they wanted to save it with 46 seconds. Maybe they can get one big play.
What, regular season game, they're taking a timeout.
That's right.
Norman back to punt. Been special tonight. And that's Nate Hughes. And Hughes makes one man miss and gets bottled up at the 23-yard line, a 39-yard punt there for Mormon. And with 34 seconds left before halftime, tell you what's coming up on our Northtown Automotive Halftime Show. Mike Catalana will visit with Bills head coach Chan Gailey, and then Steve will talk with the Bills general manager Buddy Nix, and then we'll have first half highlights and analysis. That's all coming up on your Northtown Automotive Halftime Report. Bills running in some players late.
They're trying to match the 4 wide set or the 3 wide set.
Still got them coming off. Now they're clean. Little draw play, and that's Ian Johnson, and he'll get it up to the 33, shy of the 33. We'll call it a 9-yard gain, and that's going to probably do it for the first half.
Yeah,
I
think the Lions are going to walk off.
Don't look interested in snapping it again. Stick around. Good halftime show coming up. As I mentioned, Steve will visit with Buddy Nix. Talk to the Bills general manager. And Mike Catalana will talk
end of the
with
first
Coach
half.
Gailey. In fact, he's looking for him right now, and he's got him. Let's go down to Mike. Mike.
Yeah, Ray, Coach, just a limited time with your starters tonight. Did you get out of it what you were looking for?
Well, yeah, we got no injuries. That was the number one thing. We dropped too many passes. That's the number one thing going in there. We missed some tackles, dropped some passes, gave up one long run. we can't do those things and win ball games. So, I hope we got out of it what we wanted with the ones.
It's been a long preseason, getting ready. You got a lot of decisions to make. For the guys trying to make this roster, can guys still make the roster in the second half of this last preseason game?
Sure they can. More likely it's a guy can lose a spot more than gain a spot.
All right, thanks, Coach. We'll see what happens in half number 2.
All righty, thank you, Mike. 10-0 the score here at halftime. The Lions over the Bills, but the Bills' young guns on defense making their presence felt. Shepard with some plays. Corner with a couple of plays, and White knocks that one loose. We'll be back with Buddy Nix talking to Steve. That little guy doesn't seem to mind, and the Bills will receive this second half kickoff as Justin Rogers and Marcus Easley are back to receive. Jason Hanson tees it up and then goes back. What'd you count, Steve? 17 yards for his run up?
Yeah, 17 yards at about a 45-degree angle, so he's actually about 21 yards away from the ball when he starts. I think if he has a weakness as a kicker, it's his leg strength. Now he gets this one to the back of the end zone, but he struggled with that in the first half.
Let's send it down to the sidelines. And Mike Catalana. Mike?
Yeah, thanks, Ray. And I thought it was really telling when Coach Gailey told us at halftime that guys may not be able to make the team in this second half, but may be able to lose the spot. And Steve, you mentioned guys being a little bit nervous and making mistakes. That's something they want to see in a game atmosphere like that to see if these guys have what it takes to stick around on an NFL roster.
Thanks, Mike. Tyler Thigpen will command the offense here to start this second half. Hands it off to White. Nowhere to go in the middle of that Lions line as Fluellen makes another play.
Yeah, this front 7 of Detroit has been very active tonight, both with their number 1s and their number 2s, and of course the secondary's been blitzing as well. And I think that if you talk about Jim Schwartz, and Gunther Cunningham as his defensive coordinator, that's the way they operate.
Loss of 1 on that last play. 2nd and 11 for the Bills. Quick toss to the outside. Craig Davis makes the grab and picks up a few before Ricardo Silva is able to bring him down.
And one of the things for Bills fans who don't know this Detroit Lion team, they're one of the most improved clubs in the league in all categories a year ago, and it started with Ndamukong Suh and his drafting. Jim Schwartz, that guy, giving them some great leadership. They improved in every significant defensive and offensive category a year ago. So their hopes are running very high in the Motor City this year.
3rd and 9. Thigpen, short arms went over the middle. Looks like Cawson was able to make the catch, and they mark him past the 30, which should be a first down.
And it is. And they give him actually to the 31 on that spot. But this seems a lot like the play that Cawson didn't look for a little earlier in the first half, but this one he hooks up, makes the play. Thigpen putting it on at least enough of a target for him to make the catch. Still low and away.
Thigpen 8 of 13 for 46 yards. Zips another one out. This one complete to Davis once again. Craig Davis with a couple of grabs here early in the second half. That one for 10 yards. Let's take a look at some of our out-of-town scores. Brought to you by Sanyo, the out-of-town scoreboard. Cincy 10-3 over Indy. No score yet between Baltimore and Atlanta. Got St. Louis up on Jacksonville, the Jaguars, who the Bills beat here last week. Miami over Dallas 7-zip. 10-zip New England over the Giants. Philly over the Jets. We'll roll them, and you can read them for yourself. I'm getting a little tired of it myself. Handoff to the right side. White picks his way through the line, up close to the 45-yard line.
Man, that was a nice run there. He made a couple of cuts to get a 4-yard gain. And it's tough, I think, to run in such a way when you get into that traffic. White comes in, made a hard cut, made another hard cut, and really was never in any space. And that was kind of, for lack of a better way to put it, that's a Thurman Thomas run right there. Slips up in there, makes the guy miss, then slips a tackle that would have been a 1 or 2 yard gain, makes it into a 4.5 yard gain.
Colcrick checks into the backfield. Runs out on a route. This one is complete to Craig Davis once again. 3 grabs now on this drive for Davis. Move the chains, another first down.
And Thigpen once again puts it down low. Davis goes down and gets it. But he comes wide open. He comes across the field, and this is the play the Lions were successful on in the first half of the Bills. And you see there, Davis wants that ball out in front of him, but I think Thigpen threw it there because there was an underneath defender that was sloughing off underneath that route. He had to throw it behind him to get it in there.
White pounds the left side for a couple of yards on 1st and 10. Brought down by Pitcock.
Sharp in their first series out of the box after halftime. Starting from their own 20, already moving inside the Lion 4-yard line. I mean, this is, Tyler Thigpen struggled early in his time in the game last week against Jacksonville and then came on late and led them to the tying touchdown.
Throws it outside, and
that was
like it's a little bit low for Kamar Aiken. Wasn't able to bring it in.
Well, Kamar Aiken is out there, and he's lined up right next to Craig Davis. That was a mistake by one of the receivers. They had 2 guys in the same spot, and that's what happens when you get these guys in there. They start switching from X to Z and to Y, and the receivers athletically and ability-wise are interchangeable, but obviously their assignments are different. When you start going from different receiving spots in the same guy, you start running the wrong routes because you think you're playing one and you're actually lined up at the other.
Lions show blitz and bring some on this 3rd down, and this one is incomplete, intended for Aiken once again. Looks like he should have had that, and it went through his hands.
Yeah, and it was a low throw again. Aiken's going to go down and try and grab it, and he just couldn't pick it up. It's a good pickup by Johnny White in the backfield. Or I'm sorry, it might have been Colcrick. No, it's Johnny White. Watch him step up. Boom. Gives Thigpen a chance to get rid of that football. And it's on a 4th and 9. The Bills are going to go for it here in the 3rd quarter. Well, this is not the regular season strategy.
No. But it's a good look. 4th and 9. Incomplete down the middle. I'm surprised no flag came in. Mike Cawson doesn't make the play, but Francisco came in, and it looked like he kind of hit him above the shoulders.
Aaron Francisco got way up above and slapped it down from behind. I think it's a pretty good defensive play. You see he goes over the top. I think you got to tip your hat to the guy. It's a good defensive play.
10-zip Lions will be back after this. 10:28 to go. 10-zip Lions over the Bills. Zach Robinson checks in. He's the 4th quarterback to play tonight for the Lions. Limited action thus far this preseason. He's hit on 4 of his 6 attempts for 53 yards. Does have a touchdown pass and no interceptions here in the preseason for Detroit. Fumbles the snap and just falls on the football, and he's tagged down immediately by Edens. And Mike Catalana has a special guest on the sidelines. Stevie Johnson joins him. Mike?
Yeah, Steve, just a limited time for the first-string offense tonight. Coach said he wanted to keep the rust off. Did you guys get that done tonight?
No, we didn't get it done tonight, but just getting in the motions, you know what I'm saying, knowing that you're not having 2 straight weeks off, you know what I mean? So it's something good to just suit up and come out here and run around, get the blood flowing, and get ready for week 1.
What you guys got going last week, your big touchdown, the offense moving so well. Can you build on that to lead into the game in Kansas City a week from Sunday?
Yeah, most definitely. But at the same time, week 1 in the NFL, you don't need to. If you had a good game, you had a bad game, it doesn't even matter. You get week 1 in the NFL, that should get you going. Enough said, you know.
Speaking of that for you, big year last year. Eyes are going to be on you this year. Are you ready for that?
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm here for. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm here for. That's why I'm a teammate to all these other guys. They look at me as a guy that can make the plays, and I'm ready to take that position. All
right, I'm sure I'm like everybody else. I stole you in my fantasy draft last year. What round do I have to pick you to get you this year?
I don't know, man. What I'm gonna say about fantasy, I'm gonna work hard for you guys, and I can't promise anything, but I know I'm gonna be out there working.
All right, round 1.
Et cetera, et cetera.
We'll see what round, but you better pick them early.
All right, thanks, Mike. I know I'm going to get him early if I can. Meanwhile, the Lions have converted a couple of first downs. That last one, a reception from Robinson to Tim Toon. And they are right past midfield. Handed off to Ian Johnson. And Johnson goes nowhere as Edens is in on that tackle once again.
Edens, the guy you just saw, I mean, he's a guy that has really flashed here of late. He's a linebacker, 6'3", 240 pounds, out of Ball State. He may be one of those guys, and the Bills have had him over the years, those rookie free agents who somehow sneak on. In a linebacking core that's pretty talented, he's played extremely well. And that right there was a great play.
Yeah, Coleman stays home and tries to does get Robinson for a loss on the play.
Watch that. This is tough to do. You don't expect the quarterback out of the shotgun to keep it on a boot the other way. That's hard to do. Great job by Coleman. Smart play, heads up play, and discipline.
See the book on Antonio Coleman. 3rd down and 8. Robinson with time. Throws it to the corner, up for grabs, incomplete. Intended for Derek Williams. But John Cordo, the safety, gets in there to break it up.
And the Bills get off the field on 3rd down. Great job by Cordo. Cordo's really had an outstanding preseason on special teams. That's his forte, but he does give you something in the back end of the defense. You see this going up. The Orchard Park native almost pulling that one down in the battle for that football. It was a great play.
Nick Harris on to punt for the Lions. Back to receive for the Bills is Justin Rogers. And this one is just knocked into the end zone by Nick Harris. It'll be a touchback. And the Bills, trailing 10-0, will get the football when we return after this network. Midway through the 3rd quarter, Lions over the Bills 10-0. Here in the 4th and final preseason tilt of the year. The Bills 1-2 thus far. Detroit 3-0. But those records go out the window come September 11th. So we are almost there. Big Pen hands it to White, and White gets back to the line of scrimmage before he's brought down. Hey, does your school love the NFL? Kick off the school year by celebrating Back to Football Friday and enter for a chance to win $10,000. NFL Play 60 Health and Wellness is putting out a grant. Your school can win it. Go to BuffaloBills.com for information on how your school can register. 2nd and 10, Thigpen in the shotgun. Hands it off to White. Bounces off a tackler, gets to the outside, and turns a sure loss into a 4-yard gain.
Yeah, and that got hit right in the backfield, bounced it out, kept his balance. That's what a good back can do. I mean, he's working behind a makeshift offensive line at best. I mean, these guys, this is the 5 guys on the roster as offensive linemen that are just hanging on. They're trying to make it right now, and Johnny White is the guy trying to run behind those holes.
Bills just 2 of 10 on 3rd down conversions, make it 2 of 11 as this Thigpen pass incomplete, intended for Kamar Aiken. So the punting team back out again. Mormon punted extremely well thus far. Back to return is Nate Hughes of the Lions. Not a whole lot of offense thus far from the Bills. See if they can get it cranked up here in the remaining quarter and a half of football. High kick from Mormon. Hughes takes it at the 28 and gets knocked out of bounds up near the 35-yard line. 49-yard punt by Mormon. And the Lions will have it when we come back after this 10-0 Lions over the Bills As this Bills crowd trying to get into a little bit, get their team fired up as we take a look at the Geico on the Bubble, the final roster cut down coming up Saturday, September 3rd.
And you heard Buddy Nix at halftime. They got to make them by 6 o'clock that day. And here in the rest of the second half, we're going to line out and go through all the position battles and give you a list of the players and how many players we think that they'll keep on their final roster.
Matt Clapp, the fullback for the Lions, gets a carry, and he runs into Cordo and company for a gain of 1 on the play.
Well, you know, one of the things that's surprising for young players coming into the league, they come to training camp, they see the OTAs, and they see 80 guys, 87 guys, and they're used to college teams with 100 guys on them. They're going through all their workouts. That final day, when you line up with 53 guys, it almost looks like you can't even feel the team.
Yeah.
There's like nobody at stretch. I mean, the field's empty.
Here comes a reverse. That's Derek Williams. Williams gets the first down before he's run out of bounds by Denoris Searcy.
This reverse takes a long time, and you see that handoff isn't a handoff, it's a pitch, and it's better to do that, I think, than to try and punch it into their stomach. When you pitch that ball, it lets the guy pluck it out of the air. That's what ball players are used to doing. I think offensive coordinators who put that ball handling in that way, I think they're ahead of the game, because you get so many guys trying to hand it off like a quarterback, and they just can't do it.
Yeah, you don't get those reps, and not as easy as it looks. Clapp hits it up the middle again on a first down run worth 4 yards.
You talk about the battles that are going on. We just told you we'd show you the rosters. These are the guys, and there's the 4 starters: Merriman, Kelsey, Barnett, and Andre Davis. And then over on the right, you go from Kirk Morrison, Alex Carrington, Jamie Curlew, all the way down that list. Now, it looks as though they're going to keep 8 or 9 linebackers. You'll keep a backup for each player. And then there might be an extra one for special teams, but there's a lot of guys there, as you can see. They've got 14 guys in there. They're going to have to cut at least 5 of those.
Little bootleg reception by Joe John Finley. And Finley will move the chains. Another first down for the Lions offense.
And you can tell, and I'll tell you the truth, the guys on the field, and even in practice, you start going down the list and you go through those 4 starters and you start getting a pecking order. You kind of see where you fall in that pecking order. They know which guys have a shot at making it. And it comes down to how you practiced, how you played in the games, how you've prepared, how much better and how much more improvement you've shown, and how much potential they feel you have. There's so many things that go into it.
Johnson goes into the hole, but there's nowhere to go as Michael Jasper leads the defensive charge for the Bills. Believe it or not, Jasper was a kicker in high school.
If you say so.
Yeah. I bet he could kick the stuffings out of the ball.
I know he had a big leg. Whether
Literally.
whether it could kick or not, I don't know. Well, you can see there, I mean Dan Gerberry, I'm sorry, he has no shot at moving Jasper out of that hole one-on-one. He's just not going to get it done.
Lions go a little early there. Left guard.
False start.
Donovan Thompson.
Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
But you see a guy like Jasper, a guy who's a project, who the Bills, they said, that's the story goes. They said, if you can get under 400 pounds, we'll draft you and think you can play. He said other teams wanted him to get all the way down to 320 or something. He said, it's just not going to happen.
No.
I can't do it. And
it's like dropping a 7th grader off.
Right. Now, he seems to be athletic enough. Now, can he play 3 or 4 plays in a row? That's the question.
Little draw to Ian Johnson. Brought down by Aaron Williams. Gain of 6 on the play. It'll bring up a 3rd down, and we'll call it 8, maybe 7. Let's say 7.
And there you see Jasper's going to come out of the game, and he's going to be replaced by Lionel Dotson. And that's the thing. Can a guy that weighs 390 pounds get in good enough condition to stay out there for all 3 downs or through a 9-play drive? That's tough to do.
Robinson hits his tight end over the middle, Finley, but Finley can't hang on to it.
You talk about if you see the good teams and the good defenses around the National Football League, they have one thing in common, particularly the defensive units. They have a roster of defensive linemen that run in and out of the game because those guys are so big and work so hard, they have to stay fresh. And offensive linemen, on the other hand, they don't substitute those guys. Those guys stay in the game all the time. So if you can run fresh defensive linemen in, it's a huge boost for your defense.
Hansen on to attempt a 46-yarder. And he squeezes it in. Side the right upright. In fact, he brought it back in rather nicely. 13-0 now. Detroit takes the lead over the Bills. We'll take a network timeout. Bring you back the. Pretty much been all the Lions thus far this evening. 13-0. Detroit over Buffalo with 2 minutes left. You take left in the third, I should say. 8-play, 34-yard drive. Ate up nearly 4 minutes, capped off by the Jason Hansen 46-yard field goal. Hansen tees it up for the kickoff. Rodgers and Easley are back standing in the end zone for the Bills. And Hansen hits this one pretty good. And it'll go through the end zone for a touchback. And the Bills offense takes the field once again. We'll take a local timeout and be back with more action. It's Bills offense set to take over at their own 20-yard line. Tyler Thigpen still in the ball game. He's got I believe you referred to it as a makeshift offensive line in front of him, Steve, and we'll talk more about that offensive line battle during this series. Colcrick in at fullback, Johnny White the tailback. Lead play, cutback. White picks up 3 on first down. And
you want to talk about a tough job. The Bills have 14 offensive linemen on their roster. You see the starters there on the left, and then you go over to the right, and there's a difference between, you can get guys who are like Chris Hairston and Chad Reinhardt. Reinhardt, a guard who is big enough to play tackle, but Hairston a pure tackle. Then the rest of them, Cordero Howard's a guard center, and the rest of them, those guys are going to mix it up, and you'll carry about 8 offensive linemen, maybe 9.
Nice move by White in the backfield, but still runs into trouble. And you don't have a backup for every position on the offensive line, Steve, and that's what you're getting to. Right. A lot of these guys have to do double duty and be able to back up a couple of spots.
You have guys that can back up both guard positions, and one of those positions would be the center as well. You got to have somebody who can play center, but actually in this scenario, Eric Wood, if he's not the guy that's hurt or has to come out, he'll move down to center. Actually, he's going to start at center, so you got to have somebody who can play center in his stead. If worse comes to worse, you move Wood to wherever you need him and put somebody else in. But it's all a matter of mixing the guys and their abilities to fill those spots.
Thigpen throws a strike, complete to Ruvel Martin. Good enough for a first down as the third quarter begins to wind down. It may have been the final play. We'll see.
Mike Cosson does a nice job of picking up the blitz. Right there. Does a nice job on the linebacker. And if your tight end needs to be able to match up on a linebacker and stalemate him physically in pass protection. Now, defensive linemen might be a little bit too much to ask, but linebackers and tight ends should match up. Cosson did a nice job on that play.
Thigpen pays Cosson off. A little underneath pass. And that will be the final play of the third quarter as the Bills offense beginning to move the ball a little bit. They trail the Lions 13-0 as it's been all Detroit thus far. A few highlights coming from the Bills. We'll see if they can get some more here in the fourth quarter after this net. Welcome back for the fourth quarter, but first let's take a look at our third quarter Nissan stats. And Steve, hey, we're winning the time of possession anyway.
Yeah, the Bills have actually are in the top 5 in the league in time of possession in the preseason. Doesn't always correlate to wins and losses, but it doesn't hurt.
2nd down and 1 to go. Bruce Hall checks into the lineup at tailback, but Thigpen not able to get rid of it. He'll be sacked for the 4th time here tonight. And this one, Robert Calloway comes up with the sack.
And this one, Thigpen, I think, just hangs on to it a little bit too long, although Callaway gets right in. I mean, Mansfield-Rado playing right guard has had some problems. I think he gave up a sack earlier tonight as well.
So that moves it back to 3rd down and 7 now for the Bills. Empty backfield. Thigpen, pressure again. He goes down again. 5th time he's been sacked thus far tonight, and Narado Williams comes up with this one.
Well, Buddy Nick said it at halftime. Some of these guys may not make a spot for themselves, but some people might lose it. This is going to come from over here.
Oh, mental error there by Hairston.
Yeah, Hairston, and that's just a young guy missing the guy he's supposed to get.
So Mormon comes back out. Tim Toon back to return.
Good thing
for
is
the Lions.
That was a mental mistake, not a physical one.
Another nice kick by Mormon. Pins Toon near the sideline at his own 21. Gets it out to the 35 before he gets swarmed under. 11-yard return. 52-yard punt for Mormon, who has hit the ball pretty well tonight. 13-0 Detroit over Buffalo. We'll take a local timeout and be back.
Tonight's game is brought to you in part by your local Toyota dealers. Get incredible deals during Toyota's nationwide clearance event going on now.
13:55 to go here in the 4th quarter of the final preseason game for the Buffalo Bills. Ray Bentley alongside Steve Tasker. Mike Catalana roaming the sidelines. The Lions take it 1st and 10 from their own 36. Nowhere to go on this play as the Bills defense comes up big. Morrison making the hit, and we'll go down to Mike Catalana. Mike, what's going on?
Well, Ray, we've got Nick Barnett with us, joining the team as a free agent from the Packers. You came over even though you were injured last year in that winning environment, and I know you brought that Super Bowl ring and showing some of the guys. What's the reaction you get when you show them that ring?
I think guys are just excited, and they want one themselves, so we look forward to trying to get one this year.
Talk about this defense, and especially the linebackers. There's a heck of a lot of experience with that group, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. We got a lot of years of experience out there with Kirk, Dre, Davis, and myself. We played a lot of snaps, if you add them all up, and it's just been wonderful being in that room with them and kind of bouncing ideas off of each other and that type of thing.
For fans who haven't gotten to see a lot of you, what do you bring to the field? What are they going to see when you're out there playing for the Bills this year?
I think they're going to see a lot of energy, a lot of relentless pursuit of that ball carrier. I'm just going to play hard, as my years got older, I got smarter. So I'm looking forward to bringing some of that out here on the field and being aggressive.
I know you have some other interest outside of football, music, business, production. Did I read correctly? You may want to go into sports broadcasting when you're done?
Yeah, I'm trying to go up there and take Bentley's job, in Tasker. So watch out.
Well, you've already taken one of Bentley's jobs, linebacker for the Bills. He's looking for you guys.
He's got my number, too. And
he's got his number, too. Yeah, number 50.
I'm quite proud to have him wearing that.
Yeah. He has been everything they wanted him to be when they signed him. He's a 3-down linebacker, relentless pursuit, just like you said, very athletic and instinctive.
Quarterback draw right here, wide open. As Zach Robinson shows you a little something with the legs, but it's not enough for the 1st down.
Well, this was a called play. There's no question about it. He knew what he was going to do before the ball was snapped, and it's all there.
Had man coverage, and
man
that
coverage.
linebacker ran right out of there.
Yeah. All the defenders in the secondary had their backs turned towards him because they were guarding the receivers, and he didn't make that.
stayed up pretty good. I think the Lions are going to want to maybe have that review. Jim Schwartz talking to the officials. I don't see his red flag anywhere, but I believe he's challenging.
Ruling on the field of the spot. Yep, where the runner was down by contact.
Well, we'll take a local timeout while our truck just unloads all the various replay angles for the officials to take a look at. 13-0 Lions over the Bills. We'll be back. Taking a look at a replay, Steve.
Yeah.
And the line to get is the 46.
Right. Jim Schwartz is going to be sorry he challenged this, because right there, the knee's down and the ball is actually right on the line, and they had spotted it before up here. So I think Jim Schwartz is going to be really unhappy that he challenged that. I think he's going to lose part of that yard. See, right there is where his knee's down, and that ball can't be any further than that line. And they've got it spotted right now out past that line. And they didn't re-spot it. See, I don't understand why they don't listen. If you challenge it and it goes against you,
can move it back.
You can move it back. I think it should be moved back.
The official actually said that the challenge is basically they didn't win the challenge. The ball's going to remain right where it was, so it'll cost Detroit a timeout, and it'll bring up a 4th and call it a 1 yard to gain. Little flip play to the edge, no contain, and the first down looked like it was pretty easy for Ian Johnson as Josh Nesbitt ran him down.
Josh Nesbitt, a converted quarterback, playing in the secondary now, but you'll see this is just a quick pitch to the outside right here. They just catch the Bills defense trying to jump that.
Edens actually had the proper read. He got the down block. You're supposed to close right behind it, and he did. And good play call, good scheme by the Lions. Counter play, and Johnson busts through the line. Brought down again by Nesbitt, but not until he rips off 14.
Nice blocking up front by the Lions. The Bills once again are going to run some fresh people onto the football field. Bills, I think one of the things they've got to do, I think, this year in order to shore up the run defense that they struggled with so much last year is keep fresh people in there. If they've got quality guys to run them in there. Now you don't want to take Kyle Williams and Darius off the field too much. But it really is going to give them some help to have fresh quality people to run in there.
Michael Jasper's helmet just flew off, and you'll see his name up here on our defensive line battle.
Yeah, and there you see, and they're going to keep probably 7, maybe 6 or 7, because they're a 3-4 defense. They're probably only going to keep 6 at least. There may be a swing guy that they think there's a guy in there that can play with his hand off the ground, but that would be more the linebacker type like Alex Carrington has been able to do this preseason. So it'll probably keep 6 of those guys.
Good penetration there as Danny Batten stops that play for a 3-yard loss.
Danny Batten continues to perform and to continue to compete out there. He's, as we said, he's one of the guys that I don't think there's any question he's going to be one of the guys that ends up on the roster on Saturday. You got guys out there with him now. You got like Kirk Morrison, who was just signed a week ago, who's got a lot of experience. He's got 8 years in the league, has had 100 tackles almost every year he's been in the league. He's one of those guys that is a quality pro, and if he can get enough of this defense under his belt, he could help, but is there room for him?
3rd and 8, Robinson back to throw. The timing route to the outside, complete to Dominique Barnes for the first down. Did Barnes just spike that?
No, I think he signaled for the first down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
It looked like a spike, but the ball was out. He didn't have the ball in his hand. It was well timed. Watch this. I mean, he turns around. The ball is right in his basket, right there. And it wasn't poorly defended by Doyle Miller.
Miller was right there on the spot.
He really was. A rookie out of Nevada, Reno. Miller did a pretty good job defending that, but that's one of those almost like a back shoulder throw where the ball's there before either receiver or defensive back looks for it.
Ninth play of the drive for the Lions. They take a shot into the end zone, and it is overthrown, intended for Derek Williams. Miller on the coverage.
Well, they had success a minute ago. Let's go right back at the guy. Miller showing he had pretty good defense the first time. But this is a part where with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter of the last preseason game, you've got 30 names on your list that you're going to cut. Some of the guys that are in a Bills uniform right now on the field are probably not going to be there.
Second and 10. Hand off to Johnson. And he runs into Coleman. Along with Morrison.
Kellen Hurd did a nice job. Wouldn't get pushed around. Watch these two guys in here are the guys that really have to hold their ground. Get double team, split the double team, move down the line of scrimmage, and let the pursuit get there. The longer they hold, the more recognizable the play becomes, and the defenders and the linebackers and everybody knows exactly where the football is supposed to go, and they get there. When you don't move as a defensive lineman, you open everything up for the linebackers and the defensive back.
3rd and 8. Robinson back shoulder. This time Williams can't hang on to it. Once again, Doyle Miller with excellent position.
You watch, he doesn't turn around. He watches the receiver. When the receiver makes a move on the ball, he puts his hands on the hand of the receiver. See, he doesn't have to look for the football to know that the receiver can't catch it with anything except his hands and his arms. So when his hands and arms reach, so does the defender, puts his hands right in with the receiver's arms and hands and knocks the ball away without even seeing it.
Hansen looking for his 3rd field goal of the night, this one from 35. And sneaks it inside the right upright, and the Lions extend their lead now to 16-0 with 8:14 to play here in the final stanza of the preseason. We'll take a network timeout. Once again, Lions over the Bills, 16. Jason Hansen has made 3 field goals, including that 35-yarder to cap off a 12-play, 47-yard drive. Ate up over 5.5 minutes off the clock. And the Lions with a 16-0 lead here with 8:14 to go in the contest.
So much about this season's been different, Ray. The lockout, the rules, now this rule change with the kickoffs. This is, we've talked about it throughout the preseason. Hansen is an old kicker. He's not very big. He doesn't have the strongest leg. And then going in this direction, it'll be interesting to see if the Bills get a return on this, because I think Hansen is going to struggle to get it in this direction out of the end zone.
And he does. Easily takes it 3 yards deep. Gets a seam. Easily with some room. Hansen has to make the tackle himself. The ball came out. We'll see if it's down. Yeah, it is down. Bill's ball. They retain it.
Well, there you go, Ray. I mean, we talked about it. Hansen, going with the wind away from the scoreboard in this building, that it's going to be harder to get the ball out of there. Easily almost pops this loose. Hansen does a nice job.
The ball landed right in his lap.
Yeah, it landed right in his lap. But the ground caused that fumble. When Easley came down, the ball popped out after when his upper body hit the ground. That's why it's not a fumble. And that's, a rarity this preseason, a kick return out to the 40-yard line.
45-yard return. Levi Brown checks in at quarterback. Led the Bills to that overtime win just 5 days ago. Completes his first pass to Craig Davis.
Go back to that kickoff. Hansen kicks that ball, and unless he's kicked in here a lot, he knows it's going to take a big kick. And see, he knows he didn't get it. And with the new timing and the restrictions they put on the coverage teams, if you don't get a good kick and put it deep, the timing's going to be just right for somebody to pop one right through there. And once you get through that first wave, there's just nobody left except the kicker.
Right. Usually they're not your best tacklers. Little draw play here, and Bruce Hall finds some room, busts his way into Lions territory past the 40 down to the 39-yard line.
That was a big hit at the end of that. He runs headlong into the safety coming up, but he lowers his head. Bruce Hall, don't forget, he's the guy that scored the touchdown.
It's Aaron Francisco who came up with the hit.
Last week against Jacksonville, did Hall.
See Brown's preseason numbers coming into tonight's game. And he's going to go up top. And it's incomplete. Looking for Aiken.
Looked like for a minute he pulled it in, but couldn't get it. And he's working there against Jerome Harrison, and right there it looked like it dropped right in behind Harrison, and Aiken was going to pluck it right off his back.
Yeah, that's actually Paul Pratt. They have double numbers on 36. Harrison on offense, Pratt on defense.
I'll be glad when they make that final cut,
You know?
they stop doing that.
I'm telling you. So it's 2nd and 10. Nice shot in there by Levi Brown, but Rubel Martin can't bring it in. A little behind him.
We've said it before. It's one of the most underrated qualities in a quarterback. You see the big arm, you see the quick release, you see the nice feet in the pocket and the good mechanics, but if it doesn't go where you're aiming it,
that wasn't bad,
it's all
though.
worthless. That wasn't bad. It looked wobbly, though. It didn't come out of his hand clean.
No. Getting closer to duck season. 3rd and 10. Buffalo 3 of 13 thus far tonight on 3rd down conversions. They go back to the ground with the draw. Hall picks up the first down to the 25. 12 yards on the play by Bruce Hall.
You talk about what's going to happen at running back for the Bills. Bruce Hall is inserting himself into the conversation. You know Freddie Jackson and C.J. Spiller are going to be there. And they'll have probably at least one fullback, which at this point looks like Corey McIntyre. Although Jehu Kalkrick is in the running for that. I think McIntyre's the incumbent. I think he's the favorite right at this point.
Nowhere to go this time for Hall. He gets stacked up. Driven backwards on the play. Dawson with the tackle. And you mentioned those running backs, Steve. And
yeah, they don't have that many.
List.
They only have 6 of them. And they'll maybe keep 5. And if you count Corey McIntyre in that 5, I mean, there's only one guy that's going to have to sit. And, you know, it's pretty crowded.
It'll be an interesting one to watch as far as who hits the waiver wire come Saturday in that regard. 2nd and 14. Good pass off to the outside, complete to Aiken. Aiken makes a miss. Here he goes. Come on, Aiken. They're going to mark him down at the 1-inch line. Oh, I thought he was in.
Well, I did. He ended up in the end zone, but it was after he was down and had to roll over. But what a great move he made right when the ball got to him. Watch. He looks like he's going to turn up, and then right there, the stick move gives him a chance to turn up. And I think he got in. I think Chan Gailey wants to challenge that, and why not?
Absolutely. There's no guarantee you're going to score even if you're inside the 1. And that looks like a 6er to me.
Yeah. Now the back judge is right there. No question about it. He's got great position,
Buffalo
but
has challenged the ruling on the field.
oh, I don't think
the
he
elbow
did.
came down.
The elbow
didn't it?
came down, and anything other than your hands or your feet that touches the ground, the runner's down.
Well,
I don't
Aiken's
think
getting
this is
looked
going to
at.
go the Bills' way, although they will get a 1st and 10 inside the 1.
Well, we'll take a local timeout and let the officials look in there at the hot stove and make a call. 16-0 Lions over the Bills. Well, take another look at this, Steve. It's really kind of hard to tell, but this one would make you think it's a touchdown.
Well, before we went to break, I said, well, I didn't think it was going to happen, but this one makes it look like it might be. And that is very close. That looks like the ball might have been over the top of the front of that line.
Here's the call.
Elbow came down short of the goal line. At that time, the ball was also short of the goal line. Before the ruling on the field is confirmed, the 1st and goal, Buffalo is charged with a team timeout.
So they did confirm the ruling of Aiken being just shy of the end zone, so the Bills will have it 1st and goal inside the 1.
Well, there's no question. This is the elbow that they're talking about right there, and the ball is clear up here. So that's pretty clear that unless the ball was straight over or ahead of his other elbow, he was short of the goal line.
Hall, the tailback. Culcrick, the fullback. And it's a quarterback sneak attempt by Levi Brown, and he doesn't get anywhere.
Yeah, that's a tie at best. It didn't look like the exchange was clean. No, he got it pretty good, but boy, the
Brown didn't really. He kind of waited a second there.
Tried to move a little bit.
63 reports eligible. 63 is eligible.
Handgartner comes in. He'll line up as a tight end in short yardage. Now, Handgartner is obviously a center, but you put him in, he's got a report as an eligible receiver. They've got all their heavy guys in.
They wouldn't throw it to him, would they? Apparently not. Touchdown. Bruce Hall gets it in. And the Bills are on the board.
Well, they didn't throw it to Handgartner, but they ran right behind him. Little stretch play. Give Bruce Hall an opportunity just to kind of feel his way, look for a weak spot, and then duck his shoulder and get in. Didn't have to get that much, but he got it.
The Bills are going to go for 2 here to try to make it a 1-score ball game. They'll close to within 8 points if they convert this.
They were good on their 2-point conversion on Saturday against Jacksonville. It sent it to overtime in that game. We'll see if they come up with a different. They threw for the 2-point conversion Saturday. We'll see if they have another.
Yeah, what they're going to roll here. 9-play, 58-yard touchdown drive. The big play, a catch by Kamar Aiken down inside the 1. Hall finishes it off with the touchdown. We got the ball on the left hash. Bunch of receivers there. They throw back shoulder. And it was caught initially by Davis and then broken up. Good play defensively for the Lions, staying with that. Prince Miller.
One guy called it a catch, the other guy waved it off because he thinks you've got to finish the process.
But he didn't go to the ground, so that's part of the argument or the discussion right here.
And they're talking it over, and let's get a look at it.
Once he gets possession in the end zone and they're not going to the ground, that thing's over.
Well, he does go to the ground at the end. Now he's got it. No, that's not going to work.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That ball came way out. That ball came out early, and he's got it. He almost had.
It was at the extra point.
How about that?
2 points.
They're going to give it to him.
Right. Well, we live in a parallel universe.
Yeah, we do. And our boy Cleet Blakeman, the referee, gets with his guys and decide that was enough.
Well, this officiating crew is well aware of the 5 reviews and the overtime that the Bills were in last week in Jacksonville, 4-hour and 15-minute ball game. They were in our production truck before the game, as is customary.
The previous play is under
They
review.
said, no, this game will be 2 hours and 57 minutes. I'm pretty sure.
Well, they're going to review it. They review all scoring plays. I don't know if Coach Schwartz challenged it or if it's just being reviewed as a matter of course like they do now. There was a flag.
See, Jim Schwartz doesn't like the explanation he's giving. He doesn't see it that way. Now, what happens is, and it looks like the official says he had possession.
Good, right there, touchdown.
And the defender pulled the ball out afterwards. I don't know if I saw him pull it out or not. It might have looked like he did, but I don't know that he was the reason or his hand was the reason that ball came out.
And they're not. He's not going to the ground until he's thrown to the ground, which kind of takes the process part of this away, in my opinion.
Boy, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think, well,
that might be overturned.
20 years ago when we played, yeah, that's a touchdown. But let's go back to opening day of 2010. The Detroit Lions throw the ball into Calvin Johnson. He catches it.
That's as good a touchdown as I've ever seen.
Holds the ball out and puts the ball on the ground to get up.
Rolls over twice.
it comes up losing. It's an incomplete pass, and they lose the game because of it.
Yeah, I know a lot of bitter people in Michigan over that one.
Well, they should be.
You know one too.
Yeah.
Standing right next to you.
You.
After reviewing the play, the receiver was in the process of catching the pass, was going to the ground. When he hit the ground, the ball came loose and lost control. Therefore, by rule, it's an incomplete pass.
There you go. I knew the old process would come up and sting you, but that was my point. I don't know that going to the ground was part of that process because he was standing up when he had possession and then got thrown to the ground. So I could see it either way, but
I think that
they're going to rely on the old reliable there and go with the process call.
Sometimes you get into these situations and it seems like the league tries to outthink itself. They make it too complicated.
Tim Toon and Nate Hughes back to return this Ryan Lindell offering. Lindell's got to hurry to beat the play clock. It's down to 5, but he gets it off. Puts it 5 yards deep. And Hughes decides to bring it out, and he paid the price for it. Cordo gets in there, and along with Cersei, and they make somebody pay.
Great play by John Cordo. He's had an outstanding preseason on special teams. He almost blocked a punt last week. And I'll tell you what, it's been a long time, and it's because of this 35-yard kickoff rule that if they bring it out, you're going to see teams get tackled inside the 15, inside the 10, and certainly inside the 20-yard line if they bring it out, particularly 5 yards deep. Watch Cordo knife in. That's a big hit, and he gets some help there on the outside as well.
Cersei showed up just in time. So the Lions will start from their own 16. Robinson still in. He hands it off to Matt Clapp, and Clapp pounds it out to the 29. Move the chains. Get ready, Bills fans. Tom Brady and the AFC East champion New England Patriots come to town Sunday, September 25th. Don't miss your chance to be part of this storied rivalry. Tickets are moving fast, so get yours now at BuffaloBills.com or by calling 1-877-BB-TICKS. That's 1-877-BB-TICKS. Buffalo Bills football, we need you to lead the charge.
Dodson, Jasper, and Kellen Hurd in on the defensive line for the Bills.
Pretty good job by that D-line that time, stopping Matt Clapp before he can get started. Shepard in on the bottom of that pile along with Jasper.
I think as well as the Bills' defense, particularly the defensive front seven, has played all through this preseason, I think that's probably as tough a cut as there's going to be. You want to keep enough guys that have played well and you know that could play for you and play well, but you just don't have enough room. You can only keep so many guys, and I think the Bills, particularly this year, unlike years past, they're going to cut some guys they really wish they could keep.
There is some room on the practice squad. They hope some of those guys can land. And Clapp comes out of the other end of that. Looks like he was stopped for no gain, ends up with 4 yards.
Well,
the clock winds down.
It has been in years past that you kind of get the feeling the Bills had to keep some guys they'd rather cut because they weren't deep enough and because of injuries, and they'd lose guys. This year, I think that's one subtle yet a profound change, I think, in the roster makeup of the Bills as preseason closes. They're going to have to let some go of some people that they wish or that they know could help.
2-minute warning.
And the Lions opt not to snap it prior to the 2-minute warning, and why would they, with a 10-point lead? 2 minutes left to go here in the preseason. We'll take a network timeout, finish her up. 2 minutes remain in the 2011 preseason. The finale, the Lions with a 16-6 lead over the Bills. And it's Detroit's football, 3rd down and 3. Ian Johnson in the backfield. Zach Robinson hands it off to Johnson, and he runs into Calvin Shepard. And Mr. Shepard says, "Oh, no, you don't."
Yeah, he made a nice solid tackle there. Looked like the runner was going to spin out of that tackle, and Shepard wouldn't let it. That was a great, strong tackle right at the point of attack for no gain. Right where he should have been. You see, look right there. He's going to make it. Shepard, right where he was supposed to be.
Nick Harris back near his 20 to punt this one away. Justin Rogers at his 20, set to return. Harris hammers it from the 9. Rogers gets a big block and then gets sandwiched himself. That's a one slice of bread sandwich. Caleb Campbell finishes it off, a 56-yard punt, 17-yard return.
Well, he did the right thing. He had to get airborne to get over this guy. He knew he was going to get it right when he left his feet. But he gets up. It was a good return. He did the right thing, caught that ball just inside the 10. Anytime you get a 10-yard return, that's excellent. He got a 16-yard return, it looks like. That's almost 2 first downs for the offense.
Minute 2 left in the contest. Levi Brown in the shotgun. Got 3 receivers up top. Dumps the screen off to the backside. And Hall takes a couple of shots before he's wrestled down. Excuse me, that's Johnny White making that reception.
As Levi Brown gets a chance now to run that 2-minute drill with 43 seconds and counting left. We'll see if the Bills can make some headway. See how sharp Brown can look.
Steps up into the pocket, flings it down, and that is caught. And it is complete to Ravel Martin.
And that was a great catch and throw. And I'll tell you, Levi Brown has looked very good in the 2 games these last couple of weeks. Well, Saturday against Jacksonville, and of course tonight, leading the Bills on their lone touchdown drive.
28 ticks left. Levi Brown 4 of 8 for 60 yards now on the evening. He's got a chance to win a couple of more. Brown scrambles up past the 40. It's run out of bounds finally. Inside there up to the 32.
That was pretty good athletic ability. It looked like he stepped out between the 35 and 40-yard line, but they spotted him all the way down to the 31. Did a nice job tightrope and showed good wheels. I was surprised at how fast he turned the corner.
It's amazing what fear can do for you. Brown from the gun. Zips this one over the middle. It is complete to Zach Pianalto.
They got
10 seconds
timeout. Yeah,
counting, and they do
good
have
job by Brown. You got to
time.
take that timeout.
Sure.
You're not going to get that. You got 8 seconds.
Buffalo takes their second
that'll
charge
give you time
timeout.
to at least take
this
2
is a 30-second timeout.
at the
They
end
put
zone
10 seconds
if the
on
first
game
one's
clock. 10
incomplete.
seconds.
Nice job of stepping up into the pocket.
He really did.
And Pianalto goes up and brings it back down. We're up. Let's send it back down. For more on Bruce Hall, here's Mike Catalana.
Yeah, guys, you know, we heard Changali at halftime say it's more likely a guy would lose a roster spot late in a preseason game like this, but you got to believe Bruce Hall is doing everything he can tonight to show he belongs back on this team again. Bruce Hall's a guy they know they can depend on in the backfield, making the big cut here, getting the big gainer, and eventually getting into the end zone. He's a guy who can also play on special teams. Bruce Hall, big night tonight, especially in the second half.
Thank you, Mike. Well, they put 10 seconds back, 2 seconds back on the clock to make it 10. Little dump over the middle, and that one is dropped. Martin looked like he had a chance to get himself a touchdown. Wasn't able to bring it in.
He would have had a touchdown if he could have found a handle on that ball. He ended up laying 3 yards deep in the end zone on his back right there. I mean, wow.
Beat it up a couple of times.
He had to work really hard not to catch that ball.
So this will likely be the final snap of the preseason here. 5 seconds left. 2nd and goal from the 7. And that one is incomplete, off the fingertips of Cawson. Hits the crossbar, and that's
the end of the game.
So your final score, the Detroit Lions 16, the Buffalo Bills 6.
Well, you know, Ray, we watched all 4 of these games. There's one difference being in this Bills team that we can look forward to this year. It's a much improved defense, a much improved pass rush. They seem to be much deeper on their defensive line, and I think that's going to take a lot of pressure off of Ryan Fitzpatrick and the offense, where they really felt it last year. The games they won, it seemed like they had to hang 30 points on somebody. You go back to what they went through in Cincinnati, where they were down 17 at the half and won by 18, scoring 7 touchdowns overall. It's just, you know, that's not going to happen every week this year for the Bills to win. Their defense is completely revamped, upgraded. It's stronger and thicker. And I think that's the one thing I'm going to take away from this preseason. I like Ryan Fitzpatrick. He seemed sharp. He seemed like he knew exactly where to go. And they've got a lot of guys that can do it. I think they've got a lot of guys that had to prove it to themselves, particularly at wide receiver. With the absence of Lee Evans, all of a sudden the rest of those wide receivers realized they really had a chance to play and play a lot.
And Roscoe,
I think they really started to press a little bit. We saw them drop passes, do some things that they wouldn't normally do.
Roscoe Parrish not in the lineup this preseason either.
They missed him, and as long as he has a chance to stay healthy, he's very dangerous with the ball in his hands. If they throw him into that mix, they've got plenty and more than enough talent to win at wide receiver against the matchups they'll face not only in their division but in the conference as well.
16-6, the final score. Once again, the Lions over the Bills, and we'll be back to Ralph Wilson Stadium to wrap things up.